Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Moms in the Huddle. I guess we came in muted, Jillian. Welcome to Moms in the Huddle. We're in the huddle. No parent stands alone. I am your host, Erica. And Jillian, I think you're muted too. I think we came in muted for whatever reason. But I'm your host, Erica Morgan. I am the mother of Samaj Morgan and Tyler Tice. I will say that my son plays football at UCLA. Go Bruins! We're thanking God for a great season this year. His name is Samaj Morgan, and he is a wide receiver, one of the greatest to done the game. I'm biased, but he's one of the greatest to ever done it. That's mama. But again,
Yes.
be the judge of that. And I'm also the mother of Tyler. Tyler is my eldest son with great ambition. He has a heart of gold as it relates to just him being the son. And welcome to the huddle. We're in the huddle. No parents stand alone. And we also have.
I'm Jillian Blackwell. I'm also the host of Moms in a Huddle. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm the mom of three handsome young men. I'm also multitasking over here, about to post the Moms in a Huddle post. My oldest son is Mackenzie Blackwell. He's actually at the Pistons game right now. Him and his girlfriend go Pistons. Hopefully you won. We have one of the best basketball teams in the nation. I'm super excited about the things that they're doing.
All right.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? Anyway, I'm also the mother of Jonathan Blackwell, who plays basketball at the University of Wisconsin. Go Badgers! They have a game tomorrow. I think they're playing. I can't remember who they're playing. I don't know. And then I have a younger son who's in the other room, Robert Blackwell, 18. He is a senior at Brother Rice, and he is actually probably going to be going to a prep school. That's a whole nother conversation that we're going to have as well. But I'm excited, Erica, about what we're going to be talking about
Yeah.
today, because it is. We were going to talk about it a couple weeks ago. We got some folks we're going to bring in, but we just want to start the conversation about the rules that just recently changed for the Michigan High School Athletic Association around NIL.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times people within the community, the general community, will hear that rules have changed. But here's what happens: a lot of people may not be able to go research those rules, see what the new rules are. Here's what me and Jillian's going to do for you guys today. We are actually going to go to their website, look and see what they have. We're going to dissect that website and look and see exactly what the rule changes are so that your high schooler will know what they can and cannot do as it relates to their name, image, and likeness in Michigan. It recently passed in the month of January 2026. So because it's so recent, everyone may not know and understand how it works. We want to make sure that you are fully informed to make the right decision for your athlete.
Yes, yes. You don't not want to be misinformed. You don't want to sign anything that's going to hold your child up. You want to be prepared as possible. You want to make
Yeah.
sure your child is in the best position. Think about it, even now, it's tax season. You want to make sure if you're signing NIL deals that you're also making sure that your student or your child or the person you're caring for is set up properly so they won't be owing Uncle Sam, because again, they're going to be now a business, right, Erica?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to welcome
Yes,
Gigi Vasquez. Gigi, thank you for being one of our regulars on Moms in the Huddle. Thank you for always coming to watch and spread the
yes,
word
yes.
about knowledge that we're sharing for the sports community and the sports families. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we're dealing with new things, and however, most people think that it's going to work like the college level, but that's not the case. High school has its own rules. High school has its own name. So they're not going to see it in the name of NIL. It's going to look more so like PBA, called the personal branding activity. So we learned that they're putting it under certain things that each kid needs to make sure that they stay eligible in order to play so that they can continue to get offers, not get sanctioned or anything like that, or disqualified because they failed to do something. But it's almost like you open up Pandora's box. But if you violate a rule, you get caught, and then it's specific with how you're getting in trouble, and you don't know if you're in trouble. How do I avoid this? So that's why it's important
Absolutely.
to go through this today, Jill.
Yeah. So let's just start with the basics. The basics is, well, you mentioned this earlier. People hear NIL, and NIL means name, image, and likeness.
Yeah.
So if you start with the basic, it allows students to earn money for their endorsements, monetize social media. You know where they are. They're on social media. They can do appearances, they can sign marketing deals, and they can promote brands. But in high school, it's controlled by the Michigan High School Athletic Association. It's MHSAA. It's controlled by their policy, not by the NCAA. So when you think about NIL, you think about NCAA. When you think about high school, specifically within Michigan, it's controlled by the Michigan High School. I thought it was Athletic Association.
You're exactly right. It's MHSAA.com. And I'm going to put that on here for the parents, for children that are here. What I do want to encourage for other parents that are in other states and other jurisdictions, you also have a high school regulation in which you need to make sure that you are aware of in your state. We're only going to cover the Michigan portion of it because a lot of our kids are in the state of Michigan. Of course, we're located in Michigan, so we want our parents that are in Michigan to be apprised of things. However, if you're in another state, make sure you're checking out for your state's name, or is typically the high school athletic association, and it will more than likely be the state name in which you're residing in, and they will have these rules. I will say, and put this caveat out there, or this preamble out there, it's only 46 states that have approved this. So not all 50 have. So if your kid is in a state that they're not approved to get paid or compensated, this doesn't apply to you. This discussion doesn't. However, check with state legislature, check with everyone there is to check with in your state and your school to make sure you're not violating any rules.
And the reason why they want to lean in is because things change so fast. So Michigan was actually one of the most restrictive states regarding NIL in the high school. So although you may not be the one of, was it 47 or 46?
46.
That can change. 46. So that can change. So you want to pay attention to what's happening within your legislation, within your local high school association. So again, things change. Michigan was extremely restrictive, and that's changed. I mean, high school students can now earn compensation for the name, image, and likeness, but there are certainly guardrails around it to protect the amateurism and school integrity. So we want to make sure that we are educating parents around that. So how do we want to start? What do we want to talk about first?
Well, I want to definitely start. You brought up a very good key point. Michigan was one of the most states that was very restrictive in how they wanted to pay their high schoolers, right? Because they didn't want to look like the pay to play. It is so new. It actually was enacted January 2026. And so what happens is, and I want to give everybody a chance, under the Michigan High School Athletic Association.com. So I'm about to show their website. That's their website. You're able to go there and look up the same information that I'm looking up, but we're going to be the parents that bring this to you to where you understand. So it was just enacted, but this is the great overview that I like. They actually have name, image, and likeness section. And in the overview, it says it's also known for them, for the high school players in Michigan, it's called the PBA, which is called the personal branding activity. It's saying it is another form describing name, image, and likeness rules. It's a student athlete, and this is what it is. A student athlete can earn compensation through personal branding, including endorsements, appearances. So listen, companies that want to endorse your kid, appearances, they want kids to show up to different events, social media promotions, and other similar activities. Then they actually put it simply. Students are allowed to earn compensation from PBA, which are individual opportunities for individual student athletes. Now, this is what they're going to tell you what's allowed, but then you also want to make sure you get it cleared as it relates through the Michigan High School, the MC, I mean, I had it up there, the MHSAA. Here's what's
association.
It says the student athlete may earn compensation from the individual use of their personal business activity. Branding activity. And it includes activities such as commercials, product endorsement. So if someone wants your kid for a commercial in Michigan, they can be in a commercial, endorsing other people's products, personal appearances, autographs or photo sessions, to where if there's an autograph or photo session, they can go there and sign it at different companies, right? They can also do as it relates to merchandise, okay? Sports cards, apparel sales, group licensing, right? And I think that has something to do with, if I think Jill, for that deals with the group licensing, to where if maybe all of the football players have something going on with the company, they're able to get the licensing to be able to post about all those individuals there.
Right.
Also, personal logos, right? Or acting as a social media influencer. So if your kid has character beyond football and beyond basketball or whatever sports they're doing, they're actually able to be an influencer, like a YouTube developer, to where they're able to get paid. And here's the thing. These must be individual opportunities for individual student athletes. But then, Jill, on that same website, they give what's not allowed. What do you see? Because what we're doing, me and Jillian are doing, we're going through each individual thing so you will know first what's allowed. I just covered that.
Yeah. Jill, so what's not allowed is no pay for play. You mentioned that earlier. Compensation cannot be based on your performance. Okay, so if you score 50 points at this game, that's not allowed. It's not based on stats. Okay, if you are X percentage in the state of Michigan, no, you cannot do that. You cannot use it as to attend like a special school. So if you're trying to go to a prep school or something, you can't. No, that's not allowed. The other thing, and I think this is very similar to some of the NIL things I've seen for colleges, is that you can't be representing, Cass Tech without their permission. So you can't, even though you might be the top football player, basketball player for that school, you cannot use their logos. You cannot use their uniform. You cannot even use their facility. You can't be on Cass Tech or Southfield High School football field or in their gym getting an endorsement. You cannot do that. You can get permission from them for approval if they allow you to use their facility.
I don't think they're allowing it, and that's the thing. The school cannot have anything to do with this PBA that they got. So they're saying that's what makes it different than college.
Well, it did say for the facilities, you have to get special approval. The other thing that it said is that if your school, and this is similar to college as well, if your school has a sponsorship or partnership or relationship with like Nike, there cannot be a conflict. So you can't go with Adidas and you attend Southfield or Novi Christian or whatever school, and you want to represent Adidas. No, that's going to conflict with the high school that you play with. You cannot do recruiting endorsements. This is huge. NIL cannot be used to like lure a student to transfer to their school. You cannot influence enrollment decisions. You cannot do that. You will get your hand slapped. So let's just do a recap real quick. No pay for play. It cannot be based on performance stats. Or try to attend a certain school. No school logos. You can't use a uniform. Again, it did say somewhere without, you might be able to use the facility, but got to get that approved. No conflict with the school. Like if they have a contract with the Nike, can't be representing Adidas in there. And then you cannot use it to try to get recruiting or recruiting endorsement. That's huge. NIL cannot be used to try to lure a student in and say, okay, we're going to give you $50,000 if you come to our.
Yeah. So, and also they do have different things. A student athlete shall not use the name, logos. You can't even use their mascots. So if your mascot is a Laker, like they were the Lakers, you can't use the mascot. You can't go to a photo shoot and have the mascot or their logo on there, their trademark, or any other obvious identifiers of any Michigan High School Athletic Association or any MHSAA member school, or use the facility or property of any member school. So the MHSAA is even saying you can't even use anything associated with us, not just the school, but us as well. And it also talked about a student athlete should not imply that the member school or the MHSAA approves or endorses what they have endorsed for themselves, which is so key. You can't say
okay, repeat that again.
Yeah, it say a student athlete should not imply. They didn't say even directly. You don't need. They don't want to be implied that the member school, which is the school you go to, or the Michigan High School Athletic Association approves of or endorses the the activity for which the individual student is a part of. Okay.
Yeah.
So they
That's
can't, they don't want you to do that. It's not allowed. It is also say, like Jillian said, no pay for play and your PBA, because the PBA that they call it, like name, image, and likeness, is called your personal branding activity. That's why it's so personal
right.
branding. They're saying that your personal branding activity compensation should not be contingent on specific, like Jillian said, athletic performance, and also this is what I like. It said the PBA compensation shall not be provided, facilitated, or arranged directly or indirectly by anybody on the Michigan High School Athletic Member School or associated entity or individual. So here's what they're saying: your coaches cannot line this up.
No, they
Your
can.
school principal can't line it up. Anybody associated with your school, it has to be something in which it's a third party thing. You and your family are lining this up. Okay.
However, you want to make sure you protect your eligibility. So before you sign anything, you want to make sure you check with your athletic director. Your athletic director should know the rules about this, because the one thing you do not want to do, so you're getting this endorsement because you're a great player at Baker High School, right? And so you sign this deal, whether it's a commercial or you got an athletic deal, whatever it is, you sign it. But because you sign it and you did not check with your athletic director, and something in there just messes up your eligibility that you cannot play or whatever it is, you want to make sure you involve your athletic director before you and your parent, because we're talking about high school, because it's probably going to be you and your parent signing. You want to check with them. You want to also go to the policy itself and read it and get very familiar with it. And then you also have to disclose deals as required by this procedure now.
And here's what they have actually on their website. It's called Once You Have a Contract, whether it's a verbal contract or written opportunity contract for your personal branding activity compensation, it must be disclosed. It's not saying maybe if you want, it must be disclosed to the student athlete school. And so now just one place, two places. You got to send it to your school, and you also have to send it to the Michigan High School Athletic Association. And check this out: within 7 days by submitting the required form. They have a PBA disclosure form on their website. Now, let me tell you a little bit what's in that form. This actually has the Michigan High School Athletic Association emblem and their logo. And you have to, it basically how you put your student name, your contact email, contact phone number, your school name, the year you're graduating, the source of the compensation, your agent, if you have an agent, the date that's what signed it. And this is what it says specifically in the disclosure. Please include the following information related to the contract and financial terms: payment amount, products received, term of the agreement, activities to be performed, and any additional relevant details. Then you have to sign it and your parent. And then you have to submit it and email it to your school as well as the MHSAA for them to be able to review this. See, this is what's so key. This is why I kind of wanted to just go through this website, because a lot of people's not going to read, Jill. They're not going to say, let me research this. But I'm telling you where this information is and how to access it.
Absolutely. And here's the other thing. You mentioned something, but I do not want to skate over that. You talked about if you have an agent, or if you have, and I just want to mention, if you have a considerable deal, you want to make sure you involved or you consult with an attorney. You want to understand any tax implications as well. You want to make sure you're set up properly, a proper financial structure. Yeah. So because you can't, we were on a call the other day. Remember that, Erica? And they were talking about how, and I don't want to switch to NIL, but you just want to make sure when they pay you, are they paying you the person, or have you established a business So you have certain tax benefits associated with that business. You don't want to get to a certain tax bracket and you make X amount of dollars and you have to pay Uncle Sam half of it. So you just want to make sure you surround yourself and consider some professional guidance, whether it be your parents. Absolutely, parents should be all the way involved because, again, as Erica mentioned, I mentioned earlier, you're just not, if this is a high school student under 18, your parent has to sign it with you. So you want to not probably, if it's a significant opportunity, you want to make sure that you consult with a qualified attorney. You want to make sure, again, you understand what does this mean from tax. My mother-in-law told my son, this ain't free money. Sometimes they just think they can swipe, and you have an obligation and a responsibility. And then you want to make sure you have a great financial structure as well.
Yeah. And I would encourage parents right now, while they're in high school, the moment they start making money and they start getting big deals, have yourself an attorney, an accountant, and a financial planner for your kid, even in high school. Yeah. Because they will be able to direct them by the time they get on to the college level. And this is just something that you guys have been doing for a while, because some kids can start getting paid as far as 9th grade, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So you want to be educated to know that, listen, I am getting paid. My kid is getting paid. He's that dude in high school. Because that's the thing. If our
she,
that's true. He or she.
It's Women's History Month next week.
Right. But if they're those type, and the girls, to be honest, you're right. Because I know for West Bloomfield High School, when Samaj was in high school, the girls was winning the basketball state championship every year. And so you like, man, them girls was just pulling it through every year just about. So you're right. They're going to probably start getting paid too. But here's what I like also about this website, Jill, because on here, it'll give you situational examples of what is allowed and what's not allowed. So you may ask yourself a question, well, what is allowed? What can't be allowed? They have this thing called, it's called the PBA. This is what cannot occur during school attendance or an MHSAA event. So you can't be doing different deals while you're supposed to be in school, number one. Right. So you can't say, oh, I got a photo shoot at 8 o'clock in the morning. But you're supposed to be in school. So here's what happens. It gives this thing of what's allowed and what's not allowed, right? So it says what's allowed. The student athlete completes a PBA photo shoot or appearance outside of school hours. So they want you to do it outside of school hours and not in connection with any school athletic event. So you can't have a football game or a basketball game and say I'm showing up late or I missed the game in order to do something. See, because once you open up Pandora's box, Jill, then everybody going to do everything they can to go outside the perimeters and create new rules. But here's what they say what's not allowed. Recording a sponsored video during the school day. So you can be up there talking about I'm doing an Olga's commercial and supposed to be in school.
No, or I'm doing an Olga's commercial in the cafeteria. No, you're not doing that.
You're not doing that. But here's what they also say. You can't even post sponsored content from the sidelines, bench, or locker room at a game. So that means when you're supposed to be playing football or basketball or any sport you're playing,
play football.
And if it's at 7 o'clock in the evening and you're about to play, you can't be like, let me go ahead and hurry up and get that out. So now you cannot say I never knew, because they got actual examples on here. And it also says you can't be participating in whatever your event is, appearing during practice time, team meetings, or tournament game. So they're saying you can do whatever you like, but it got to be outside of school events, school attendance, and everything, and make sure you're in those perimeters. I like that they gave that example, because sometimes people act like they don't know. So now we're telling you what you can and cannot do.
Well, and that's why it's important for parents to be involved. Johnny is not going to read. Johnny got a lot. Johnny is a football player. He's a basketball player. He's in school. He's trying to graduate from school. You have to surround yourself with people that are going to look out for you, are going to make sure you understand what the rules and the regulations are, because at the end of the day, you never want to do anything and allow money to drive your decisions. High school is still about development. It's about academics. And the bottom line, it's about character. And so you want to make sure once you leave that high school, you still have a great brand with the school and with the companies or organizations that you've partnered with. So you're not getting them in trouble. Because if you do something in violation, so you sign a contract, let's just say Olga's, and you get in trouble, you still have an obligation. But what happens, that because you broke the rules, what will happen with that? And so I just think that, when we do things short term, it has a negative effect. You have to be very strategic about what you're planning on doing. Like, you have to teach your athlete, like, I think about social media. Every post is permanent. You have to remember every post is permanent. So if you're a great athlete, you want to make sure you're a great communicator and you're communicating things that brands want to pay attention to. But you do it around the perimeters that the Michigan High School Athletic Association can have laid out for you.
And that takes me on to the next point on their website. Again, guys, we are going through the Michigan High School Athletic Association.com website, where you're going to be able to see this. So we know you're not going to always go to it and read it, but we're bringing it to you on Moms in a Huddle today. So the next thing, which is what is allowed as it relates to your personal branding activity, it cannot be associated with inappropriate, unsafe, or prohibited products or industry. So what do you mean by that? This is what is allowed, and I'm going to give you what's not allowed. Mm-hmm. It's allowed to, when you're endorsing age appropriate and lawful businesses such as sporting goods stores, restaurants, clothing brands, fitness facilities, camps, or tutoring services, subject to the MHSAA review and discretion. So here's what they want. They want to review what you're about to involve yourself into. But here's why I want to bring up this next point. Now in society, even in high school and middle school and college and adults beyond, it is legal to smoke marijuana. Mm-hmm. Just because something is legal don't mean as a high school student you should be endorsing it. For example, your uncle, your auntie may own a marijuana store and want you to come in there and say, we sell drugs. Now, let me tell you this. Can you do that, Jillian? What do you think, Jill? Answer that question for our parents.
That would be a no. And if I was a cussing person, it would be a HE double hockey sticks. No.
Right. Please don't do that. Don't put yourself in that, because sometimes people feel like, well, they said that I can now do such and such, such and such. Mm-mm. No, you can't. So this is what they have on their website. Promoting or endorsing, not allowed, alcohol, tobacco, vaping products, or cannabis, sports betting, gambling apps, or casinos, performance enhancing or illegal substances, sexually explicit content or adult entertainment, firearms, weapons, or ammunition, or partnering with a company whose products or messaging are deemed inconsistent with the interscholastic athletics values. So here's what you're going to say. You almost have to make sure that this stuff is approved and okay. It's okay to call SAA and say, is this appropriate for me to go ahead and maybe promote a product that if you got it, when in doubt, and you got to ask questions. If you're asking yourself and I'm in doubt, call them and look on the website. Don't sign a contract and get binded to anything.
Yeah, get the information. But what's also interesting, I want to, we've had a conversation about, the investments that we have made with our children regarding athletics and sports and colleges and universities and prep schools and all the things, right? Mm-hmm, so when last year, the NCAA, it hasn't been approved yet, but the NCAA is using a clearinghouse to decide, or they're going to be deciding what your market value or what your students' market value is. Again, this is for college students, right? So there could be potentially a cap. What's interesting in high school is there are no limits on how much money a student athlete can earn.
That's good.
That's good. So you won't put a cap on Johnny, the 16-year-old, the 17-year-old, but you'll put a cap on the 22-year-old.
Yeah, because they don't think here's what's going to happen, Jill. Just like they did originally with the NIL, they didn't have a cap on it.
Right.
They just put a cap on it in 2025, June of 2025, which was last year, or July up in that.
They haven't put a cap yet.
Oh no, we're not a cap, but here's the issue that they presented. We need to make sure that it's your fair market value. They gave you this kind of ambiguous language that we're going to review it, and if we don't approve of it and it is beyond your fair market value, we can deny that you're able to go follow through on that contract. But over here in the high school sector part, they're saying this thing is open. Floodgates are open until we start getting a lot of kids
making money,
getting millions now in high school. And then they're going to say, well, we have to have a cap, or not a cap. We have to put a structure around this thing.
Right. And then, I mean, that makes sense, but it's also interesting that they'll do that where they don't put caps on. There's no, I think about if you're doing, well, they're not professionals, right? But if you're doing something and you earn the money, why should an outside organization determine what your fair market value is? It's just very interesting to me.
Well, here, think of it like this too, Jillian, because now if you're between 16 and under, and you're a high school student, if you have a job, the minimum amount in Michigan, I believe that they want you to work with hours is 20 hours a week, right? Yeah. Maybe. And if you work over, you almost got to have your parents' permission to be out there working. Now, the problem with this is you may have kids working a lot of hours, and then they may get in trouble with some of the labor laws, right? Yeah, because now this kid is out here working beyond, 20 hours a week or different things like that. And then parents are finding themselves getting in trouble. So we do have the floodgate that's open. But here's the thing. I'm glad that that is open, because you should get paid if somebody want to use your face, if somebody want to use your body, if somebody want to use the essence and likeness of who you are. Jillian, if somebody want to use your name, Jillian Blackwell, and they just out here doing and using your name and getting paid from it, millions, shouldn't you be compensated because it's your name?
Absolutely. But that's why it's so important to educate yourself on what you can and cannot do. So because the floodgates are open, supposedly, there are guardrails and there are rules around it, what you can and cannot do. And so I stress this, our goal is to educate you so you can take full advantage. When you think about your insurance, I was talking to my husband about something that I purchased, and then I started reading my own insurance, the benefits that I have already with my insurance company. Because I did not educate myself on it, I made a mistake and purchased something else, not knowing that I was already covered. And so what you want to do is always educate yourself on, yes, I'm a great student. I want to take advantage of it, whether it's posting something on social media, whether it's getting endorsement to the Burger King that I frequent, every week. Make sure you can do that and do it in a way that you're not going to be penalized, and you're not going to mess up your own brand or mess up the organization or the nonprofit or the business that you're trying to do business with.
And I will say on the website, because I'm going through their website, Michigan High School SAA.com, so MHSAA.com, it says, this is a question: who is responsible for college eligibility rules and issues related to personal branding activity income? So this is who they're saying responsible. The student athlete. So here's the thing. They put it back on your underage kid that can't even contract. The parent guardian is responsible for determining what, if any, effect the personal branding activity income may have on eligibility with, check this out, the NCAA, the NJCAA, and the NAIA, which is some of the databases that a lot of our kids have to sign up for regarding eligibility. So here's what happens. You guys are responsible for going and finding the information for what you can and can't do. So ignorance is not bliss. You can't say, I didn't know that.
No, right. No, you can't.
So here's what I would encourage a lot of the parents and students to do. Sit down with your high schooler, right? Mm-hmm. Say, you know the type of person you are. You know if you about to start making all this money. You know if you like one of the guys, or maybe you may not be one of the guys yet. You may be up and coming next year. Sit down, have them write out what they can and can't do to where they'll know how to represent themselves with brands as kids. I've seen 11-year-olds that know how to have personal branding. When a young girl opened up a lemonade thing and was selling lemonade across the world, her mom, she made sure, and her parents made sure that she understood the cost to make the lemonade. And here's the thing, she was branding her own self, her own things. It may not have been sports related, but it was her business. So now you're branding you. You are your better spokesperson. Absolutely. The better spokesperson for yourself than anybody else, including your parents. So sit down with your kids, parents. Talk to them. Let them know the rules, because if I'm not around, you need to know what you can and cannot do.
And then you also need to know what the penalty is. I was just reading, if you violate it, you can be suspended for a period not less than the next 90 days, meaning whatever that sport is, football season, basketball season, if you violate the rules associated with the Michigan High School Student Athletic Association, you can sit your tail down for 90 days after your last violation. So let's say you are start of the football season. I'll just use basketball. Start of basketball season. And let's say it starts in January. And they find out you violated something January 11th, you got 90 days that you're going to sit your tail down. The basketball season is over. Because you got January, February, you in March. And we now in April. And because you did not read and did not sit down and find out what you can and cannot do, you just missed your whole season. That could be your senior year. That could be the hottest year. You worked out in the summertime. You was ready to go. And now because you were ignorant, not calling you ignorant, but ignorant means not knowing. You did not know. And Erica said it plainly. Ignorance is not bliss. You're supposed to know. You need to pay attention to that, because you do not want to be in a position where it's not due to injury, not due to academics. It's due to you was acting stupid.
Or you didn't know the rules. See, a lot of people get in trouble because they just don't know the rules. That's why I'm saying, there's a passage in the Bible that say, my people perish because of lack of knowledge, right? I always say it's not the knowledge that they don't know. It's the knowledge that they do or could know, but they failed to obtain it, right? That's it. So if you got the knowledge available to you by going to a website or going to your actual rules, and you're actually sitting down, and let's say you don't understand what the rules mean, talk to, like Jillian said earlier, your school administrator. They're going to give you the help you need. They're going to give you the resources you need. Hopefully they're having meetings with their kids about what this new rule means, you know?
And that's the thing. Who's talking about it? I saw it on the news. I think they went into one of the high schools, but I haven't. And we're going to bring some athletic directors to talk about it. But are they talking to their students about this? They perhaps, AAU coaches might be, but are the schools talking to their students about? Are they in favor of it? I mean, that's the question. Would you, as a athletic director and or a high school football coach, basketball coach, whatever coach, are you in favor of your student now being compensated because of the sport that they're playing in your school? Is this a good thing for high school? Is it a good thing for the students? I don't know. And so I would love to, we're planning on, and we've sent some invitations out to some ADs to hear their perspective. Because some of the things I've heard is, it's a distraction, right? My air quotes. It'll take their focus off of academics, right? They're only focused on the money. It's just a lot of pros and cons associated. We certainly know what the pros are: compensation. You can get paid, you can bank money. I think there was like a 19 or 20-year-old. Again, I'm talking about a college student, 19 or 20-year-old that bought a Ben and Jerry's, I believe, so bought a franchise. So certainly, I don't know what it would look like at a high school level compensation. But if you're starting getting compensation in high school, it should be able to elevate your compensation when you get to college. But it's going to be interesting to hear from ADs and coaches about how they feel about this new ruling.
And you got to think about this too, Jill. You got a 10th, 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th grader, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're about to start getting possibly paid more money than the principal,
And
the
the coaches.
coaches. I mean, and everybody. And this kid could be a millionaire or a six-figure guy before he even get to college. Think about that. That is something in which that can bother, that can ruffle a lot of feathers.
Oh,
And you're
absolutely.
let's talk about that, because it's like, you know, or you may not know exactly what a kid is getting paid. You may just start seeing, okay, they're dressing
Right.
different, or they got a car deal, and that car deal happens to be with BMW or Range Rover, and you like, this kid driving a better car than me. See,
Yes.
how can we help parents navigate that? Because true enough, your kid already have issues when they are a star player, but now they're about to start getting paid money. The big thing is now you're going to have to deal with people talking it, jealousy, or jealousy that comes from not just students, but can come from their other
Adults.
people around, adults that are grown folks. So how can a kid navigate even that part of it?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Jill?
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you have college students that are struggling with that, right? You have college students that might be making more money than their parents have ever made. You have college students that might be making more money than some of their professors. You have college students maybe making more money than maybe not their head coach, but some of the assistant coaches, right? Yeah. Might be driving a better car. All the things that you have to do, and that's why you have to use wisdom. Yeah. When you get that money. And then think about this. That's, we talk about that side of dealing with different personalities and perhaps having a spirit of jealousy. But what about having a spirit of greed? So little Johnny now got an endorsement. You find out now cousin Ray calling y'all, said, we about to get evicted, or we need some money, throw us some money. I went to all your games. How about that?
Yeah, now you got family pressure. So your kid, well, we're looking at, Jill, we are looking at something where Pandora's box is not just opened up on understanding the rules on the Michigan High School Athletic Association website and any other website in kids in other states, but it opens up family pressure. It opens up insecurity pressure from others around you, from friends, from relatives, and then you're dealing with trying to still play the game that you love, right? Yeah. And not losing the fervor for it. So it's like the
kid, because you're still dealing with a kid. You got a kid that doesn't understand. Now you have stepped over into arrogance. You used to be, it was confident in the game. Now you arrogant because you got your pockets fat, right? Now you think you can talk to mom and dad any kind of way. Now, so think about that. Now we're talking about 16, 17, 18-year-old kid get a little bit of money. If they don't have, again, it's so important surrounding you around the right people, thinking long term. If you have a kid that's already, because they're a great player and they might have been a great player for a long time, there are certain kids without money, you can't say nothing to them.
That is true.
So now you got a little bit of money. Not everybody want to be your friend. Now you just out cold. There's no sense of being humble. So how do you deal with that? So we've talked about outsiders. How about the person that I'm the deal now, and they walking around with this swollen head?
That too.
What does the Bible say? What comes before a fall? Pride comes before a fall.
Pride comes before a great fall, because what happens is sometimes pride can come in many ways before a person can identify what it looks like. You get what I'm saying? And then the good thing about God, he'll give you time to repent about that thing before it's exposed, right? So I think that with kids, when you're dealing with kids, there's a certain level of, what you call it, grace that God says, okay, your brain isn't developed. You don't understand. It's why it's key for the parents that's around the kids. Because I mean, I look at it almost in a situation of this. Remember kids that were on the Disney Network, Nickelodeon, when they were making all this money and their parents
Yes.
were there. But here's what happened. It got exposed. They got exposed to so much so early, such as
Mhm.
drugs, sex. Then they became depressed. So here's another thing we got to make sure don't seep into these kids, because when money comes, one thing that Biggie said, the more money, more
More
problems.
problems.
Okay?
Yes.
Biggie
Yeah.
was prophetic in what he said. The
Well,
more
Biggie was
you come across, the more problems you see, right?
well, Biggie was quoting scripture. Because the word of God says what? The love of
Love the
money
money.
is the root of all evil.
But then
And
the
so
flip side of it, it says money answers what? All
all
things.
things.
So
Yes.
we
Yeah.
got this, it's a balance with it, you know?
Right. Wow. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be really nice to hear the perspective of some coaches, whether they're coaching high school or they're coaching individuals within AAU. I would love to hear their perspective. And then I would love to hear not only athletic directors, but some of the leadership within these high schools. Like one, it could be, um, although they can't use their endorse the school, people know what school you go to, right? And
Mhm.
so that could be a great promo, even though they're not actively promoting it. You know that Johnny go to Cash, you know that Johnny go to Southfield. What are they producing over there, right? And they're getting compensated. So I would love to hear even from some of the leaders in the schools and how they one are educating their students, educating the parents, because it doesn't stop with the students. It's really the parents should be educated, because again, it's not Johnny's signature, it's your signature as well. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to inviting some of those individuals to have those conversations with us.
Yeah, you're so right. A lot of these kids are not able to contract. They're not 18. So if your kid signs a contract with someone, or hopefully these people that are pursuing your kids, sometimes they just want to, it's a money making thing. Everybody
Yeah.
wants to make money, right? I want to make money. I want to bring business to my business. And the way to do it, if little Johnny has my shirt on when and it's another thing, because one of the things you couldn't do in college is have someone else's paraphernalia on when you're after your game. You know, a lot of schools, they say,
Right.
you can do that. You may have the MHSAA rules for your high school kid, but then your school may have rules that you got to abide by that doesn't distract too much from the team. Because what I found out that when you are building teams, or when you have teams, and a lot of these kids go to the schools because they live in the district, some of them don't, but now that once people start getting paid, you can kind of lose the team chemistry and camaraderie, because now kids are feeling intimidated because little Johnny over here is getting paid money and I'm not. So am I going to block for Johnny when
Ooh.
somebody is coming for Johnny? Because I don't like Johnny no more, because let's talk about that. See, people don't want to talk about that part. That
Ooh.
Johnny getting paid more than me on the team. I'm a kid. That's natural for a kid to probably have a little jealousy, but I'm the center or I'm the lineman. Johnny's the QB. And if somebody gonna come at him to hurt him, I just ain't gonna block. See, now you gotta deal with
All of
the
that.
mental thing of what happens with other kids. The team camaraderie is no longer there versus when no one was getting paid. So we're just bringing out things. And if you're just joining the program, we're talking about the new rules in the Michigan High School Athletic Association for NIL. It's called PBA, which is personal branding activity for these kids. So if you're joining us, you want to speak out and you want to ask questions, me and Jill are here to answer your questions. If you have a question, put it in the comments, because we can only answer what they got on their website now. It's so new, but we want to inform everybody. And for those parents that need to know, this is where you can find the new rules for your child's name, image, and likeness, which is called the PBA, Personal Branding Activity. It's located on this website.
Yeah, I wish that perhaps athletic directors, or again, I haven't heard it. I think I have an ear to what's happening in this, not, I won't say the state of Michigan, but I think I have an ear to what's happening with athletics. I have not heard much about it, with the exception that was reported on the news. So it would be nice to know if they're, schools having meetings with parents. Because we have some great athletes, and not just within high school, that have been produced out of the state of Michigan. And so
Yeah.
Michigan produces some great athletes, whether it's football, basketball, hockey, all the things. You would think that they would start preparing and having those conversations. So it's going to be
Well,
interesting to find it out.
if you're not, Jill, that may be something where myself and you need to do a webinar for a lot of the
Yeah,
high schools. And we need to release it to parents and release
yeah,
it to schools to say, listen, go here, but if you don't understand, this is a cool 1 hour video. You can kind of get a totality of some things and then begin to research it yourself. That's why we're here. We're a good resource where no parent does stand alone. So now we're giving you resources. This is almost like the rubric to the test. Know it, right? And in order for your kid to be successful, like me and Jill, I know for myself and Jillian, I believe I could speak for you too, Jill. One of the things we are very hands-on parents when it came to our kids, which is why we started this. We're not just letting people put anything in front of us and sign. We're not just letting people say anything and our kid don't understand what's happening. When you are an informed parent, you are a parent that can move forward and make sure that your kid is protected, even if you don't have legal counsel. Just make sure they're protected. And this is the first avenue, is just being informed.
You got to be informed. You got to read. People. You are you are an attorney. I've been in corporate America most of my career. So my tendency is to read the fine print. And you just got to take time. You have to be very intentional about paying attention to the details. Because if you don't pay attention to the details going to bite you later.
Yeah, and it can bite your kid. You can't say, "Oh, I just didn't know." Well, you know what? They have put it. That's what the one thing that Michigan did. They put it on their web. The moment it happened, they already had this stuff outlined. They anticipated it, right?
That's good. That's good.
So
Yeah.
they had it outlined. So it's very good information for us to just talk about it. And this is what we and Jill are doing. We're talking about it. We're bringing it to you. And if you have any questions, feel always free to ask.
Yeah. You can like, subscribe, follow. You can check us out on our website, Moms in a Huddle. There is a section on momsinahuddle.com where you can ask us questions. If there are a particular episode or conversation that you want us to have, if there are individuals that you want us to bring on, one of the things that Eric and I talk about, we bring in parents, professionals, and players to talk about their experiences, but we also bring in subjects that are either new and we are all trying to uncover them. And again, I remember back in May when our kids were signing deals and looking at contracts, I was calling Erica like, so what was it? And now we look at that as the phone call, the person to pick up Moms in a Huddle. No parent stands alone. We do not want you to make we're all going to make some mistakes, but you can not make mistakes by being informed. And so that's our goal, to make sure you're informed.
Yep. So again, the website is www.mhsaa.com. We are also promoting this to where parents will know exactly what to do if they're tasked with making sure that your kid is about to start getting paid, to where you know what's going on. And I know parents are ready, bring in the money, right? Bring in the money, make some money. But you know what? You bring in that money, you got tax liability, like Jill said earlier. Woo! But just make sure that you are informed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. That's all. I think it's the first time we stayed under an hour.
It is, but we still had a lot of good information. We're still almost an hour because we wanted to make sure that the parents knew exactly what was going on. So I will say we're going to have some guests on. If you would like to be a guest, let us know. Come into the huddle with us, because this is what we like. We like to understand. We like for everyone to understand. And in the huddle, no parent stands alone. So you want to be a guest on the show, let us know your story. Reach out to us through social media. We do have social media. And Jill said we have a website. So reach out there and then we'll get that information and we'll see if you're wanting to be a guest on there. Come on. Everybody got a story, right, Jill?
I love it. We got some great stories coming up. We're going to be bringing on a young man. So oftentimes people think about you can only play on the field, you can only play on the court. There's a young man that did an amazing internship with the NBA. So I want to talk about other things that you could be doing as a student, as a student athlete. Perhaps you're not going to finish your career in NFL or the NBA or MB. What's baseball? MLB. MLB. There, somebody got to put the game on. Somebody got to be a recruiter. Somebody got to be a agent. And so we want to expose other careers that are out there around there. And I want to talk to this young man. He's amazing. We're going to bring him and his mom in and talk about, what he's doing and what he's pursuing. And it's going to be really nice. So we got other shows coming up, but I'm very excited about that. And then we'll also talk about, decisions that parents are making when it comes to prep schools. And the financial commitment that is. So your child is extending his high school eligibility, or he's going to an academy where prep school where it's actually an extension. Well, he'll earn college credits, but he's not quote unquote quite ready to go into a school. Perhaps he's not getting looks, all those things. Are we going to bring somebody in and talk about the advantage of prep schools and what prep schools can offer as well?
And I think I like that. We also need to talk about reclassification, the taboo myth behind that. Meaning your kid is in high school, you reclassify them to be in another year to where they're not physically there or mentally or certain things or academically there. Why are people reclassing their kids? Is it taboo to do? Who did it and was it successful?
Yeah. I remember I thought it was taboo. I was like, why would somebody do that? And I had just an interesting conversation with a young man, Marcel Smith, who is now a owner of Chick-fil-A. He's going to be opening up his Chick-fil-A on 3/13, my husband's birthday. He's the son of Dr. Sabrina Jackson. And so we were talking, and I said, and I think that at that time he might have been coaching Jonathan or Robert, I can't remember. And I said, why would somebody do that? And he said, well, first of all, Miss Blackwell, he said, why wouldn't you? He said, now this is a man without any kids. He said, I think it's the parents' responsibility to do whatever they can to make sure their child is in the best light, has the best opportunity. He said, it's not illegal. He said, it's out there for you to reclass your child. And if it's going to put your child in a better position successfully in their future, well, I said, well, go ahead with your little young self. Educate somebody.
Right. I think I like that perspective. But then you got the other side of it where you got parents that will reclass so they can have advantage over other younger kids. See, everything is not created equally.
Right.
To where, yes, I think that parents should put their kids definitely in the best light and in the best thing for them. But then when you got people say, oh, he in the 8th grade and he really 16, you'll be like, well, no wonder he's running rapids around the little 8th graders. He's 16.
Right. Or he reclassed 9,000 times.
And that's the problem you run into. See, it's not the people that do it for the right reasons. It's the ones that may do it for the wrong reason. But I think that's a topic we need to touch on so we can get both perspectives, because there is that thing of reclassification for the benefit of your kid, making sure they're getting things, or reclassification so you can make it seem like your kid is just this specialist. But again, you're 4 years. It's like, come on now. And then by the time you get to college, that you're really playing under 2, but then by the time you get to college, everybody is up there now. Everybody is kind of reclassed. They're older and they're here and they're there. And then maybe it was for their benefit. So it's
you 21. You 21 graduated from high school.
And see, that's the problem with some of the things people were doing. But I'm mad at people that can successfully do that thing. But when it's like, don't be out there, he in the 10th grade and he's 30. Like, don't do that to the kids. Like, no wonder.
You got a deep voice.
I was sitting at a tournament when we was playing basketball. I'm like, dang, that kid's sweet. Like, he just seen leaps and bounds ahead of everybody. Somebody said he done reclassed twice.
Wow. With a deep voice and a mustache.
Full grown beard up in there, like. Okay, and my little poor baby is in the 6th grade. You like,
Still got the soprano in his voice. You know when their voice is changing.
Yeah,
But I remember when my son played BYU. I was like, man, these guys look older. And so at BYU, I believe it's a Christian school. They take 2 years, and they do. They take 2 years to do.
Bring them young. Right?
Yeah, so they do missions. So if you take your first 2 years, you go to school at 18. You take your first 2 years, and you're not playing. And so when you start playing, you 20 years old. By the time you graduate, you 25, right? And so the joke was some of these kids, after they finish playing, they going to pick up their kid from daycare, and their wife at home cooking the meal.
And it's not a bad thing. That's just another clever way to say we're going to work on things. Again, I think it's a conversation that needs to be talked about. It's a myth. Absolutely. It's a taboo in things, and we're going to probably bring that on too. So stay tuned, everyone. Stay tuned.
All righty. Well, this has been great. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're going to be bringing one more show too, Jill. I know for the foodies out there, me and Jill are going to start trying some of the different foods, different restaurants to let parents know what's out there, what's good, what you like. So we'll let you guys and keep you tuned on some of those things and see some of our adventures when we go out and try different things. And we'll show it on episode of Moms in the Huddle, just so you'll know what are some of the good foods out there and what should you try.
You see that shame in the background? No, I'm just joking. All right. Well, we will talk to you soon. I'm super excited about what's coming next. And thank you for joining Moms in the Huddle, where no parent stands alone. Have a great one, everyone. All right. Good night.